Right, Anchit, what is up, dude?
What's going on, brother?
Man, let me say, man, I'm not gonna waste any time here. We're gonna be digging into some sick shit, and all of this is the music that you're putting out, dude. I have such an energy and appreciation. I want to say first off, thank you very much for taking the time today, man. What a sick opportunity to have, dude. You are
No,
absolutely killing it.
thank you so much. Thank you for those kind words and love your podcast and everything you do. It's
Thanks,
amazing
man.
just to get,
Thanks, man.
people like us just talking and stuff. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
man. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Dude, so honestly, I mean, like I say, there's a lot going on. Obviously, I mean, that's kind of pointing out the obvious with all the different things that you do, constantly traveling, constantly going around. Bring us back to this first guitar. So I know that yourself, as far as you're ESP boy nowadays. You're just
Yeah.
absolutely ripping on anything you can there. But where did it start? What was it? As far as was it a gift? How did guitar end up coming to you?
I it was at a kind of a young age I got interested in playing guitar basically through my brother. He got into it first in our family in our friend group at that time, and I kind of just wanted to play. You know, skateboarding was a huge thing in our lives, and
Mhm.
the two kind of just meshed together perfectly, and that was like our thing. So at one point, I just begged my parents to get, really start a guitar that came with like a little amp, and
Sick.
I can't remember when it was, but I played maybe for like I don't know, a few months, took a class, and then honestly, I stopped for like I didn't play for a very long time. Like,
Oh
I
wow.
mean, I just kind of gave it up. I mean, I don't know if I gave it up. I just got more interested in skateboarding.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty early on, but like I don't think it had the impact on me that it does. Like maybe like I don't know, like 3.5, like 4 years ago is when I kind of feel like I started playing guitar for real. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I know it's weird.
Now, I mean, when you were first starting, like, what were your eyes set at? As far as like, man, if I could get down this riff, like even the simplest, like people mentioned, kind
Yeah,
of Nirvana type of stuff. Where was the eyesight initially when you pick that up and you're like, man, this would be cool to be able to play.
I remember we played. I mean, obviously, "Smoke on the Water." That was yeah.
Okay.
That was probably the main fucking song I was playing every fucking day.
Sick.
But I mean,
and I mean, like, now taking on like a little bit more seriously, and because we're gonna get back to skateboarding, because that's like an essential like part, I think, of like this kind of mesh in general. But as far as with that though, like with the dive bombs, with the and it's not just a dive bomb. You hear like any of these bands that you're in, and between you or whoever, if it's just you or you and another guitarist, there is always heavy on the dive bomb. I mean, and that being kind of like a thrash, heavier metal thing. Where was that influence to you, as far as like, I'm gonna toss this in some genuine heavy beat down in 2022?
that's a good question. I try to incorporate it more. I love Floyd Rose's those guitars with the whammy bar.
Hmm.
Um, I think it came like from bands like Second to None, Red Eye Devil, Lil Greg. Um, these bands would like really guitarists in these bands would really add this kind of flair. 25 to Life, another one.
Yo.
I mean,
Okay.
Fury of Five, like all these great classic. I mean, maybe not Fury. They did more of the harmonics, but like I guess
Hmm.
in the scratch, what I'm getting at is like I think a lot of these bands added kind of this extra flavor with guitars and shit. I mean, I'll be the first to admit I'm not like the most like technically skilled best guitarist out there, so I try to like bring a flair that I can and enjoy. I
Dude.
try to get better every day, but
I
I
mean,
think
I mean,
yeah,
and you saying that too, like for instance, like for me to introduce somebody, as far as like flavor, or like somebody like my dude Hoya Rock from Madball, who talks about constantly, he's like, I do the same 4 or 5 chords for a whole record and like literally
Totally.
write a record, and it's just the vibe behind it, the kind of feel. And to kind of, you know, put one of your things, for example, Deceit from Hold My Own, that first track, never hearing anything from the band, putting that bad boy on, and I'm like, I can't stand still. Like I'm
Thank
out
you.
jogging, out rock, like whatever the situation is. Somebody puts that on, there's just such a vibe behind it. And I
Thank you.
even kind of hate saying vibe, but like, but there's genuinely like your body has to like kind of do something when that like energy comes on. It's just right straight in your face. So I mean, I dig that, and I love that too. You know,
Appreciate
as
it.
far as you know, there's an energy and passion behind it that maybe it's not, you know, at all times the craziest or wildest,
Exactly.
you know, like bridges or any other shit. But anyway, no.
Absolutely. It's
So as
hardcore.
far yeah, right. As far as skating and that crossover opportunity, did you have any opportunity, you know, when like you were checking out maybe even different skate videos, or we had, you know, the old Tony Hawks where we're sitting there and like myself had never really like heard anything like Primus, or you have Motorhead, you know, where there was different soundtracks. Did anything get introduced to you through those portals as far as through skateboarding?
Yeah. I mean, every soundtrack in every skate video and skate game, that's probably where I first heard a lot of the bands that I listen to now.
Mm.
Um, I mean, fuck, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. And
Like,
that's kind of the thing too, you know, that was like such a like a I guess even initially not thinking about it, but it being something where like thinking back on a lot of different bands that were in that, or just different soundtracks, or even like when they had like Dave Mira's with like BMX, and you had like the whole like BMX videos and stuff, the soundtracks that were behind those, you know, that was kind of like the energy too. And
yeah,
now was there something as far, because I know that, I mean, you mentioned that you still skate and everything too, but was there kind of like a key moment where all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I'm gonna pick it back up on guitar, and kind of, you know, because you mentioned it being around like
yeah,
4 years ago. Where did that come
totally.
involved?
And to be fair, I mean, I haven't skateboarded in a while. I mean, for real, like, I picked up the board the other day, but tried to do a kickflip, but it fucking sucked. So, I think like at one point, like, I was playing bass in bands.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like playing guitar, and just kind of the motivation to want to write more came. So I bought a guitar, and I mean that's pretty much at that time. Like, you know, some of the bands that we had were winding down, and the idea of MH came to play. You know, I started getting together with TJ and Evan a lot. We would meet up a lot and
Mhm.
at our old practice spot, 1648, and we, you know, write. You know, TJ had a lot of great ideas. Honestly, because of him, I've learned a lot
Mhm.
playing guitar and just seeing how he did it. You know, it was a huge thing for me. Just seeing my friends and seeing how they did it. Drummers, Beaver, Surge. I mean, um, a lot of friends like my friend Nico. A lot of these people, like, they're the huge reason why I can even be somewhat good at what I do. You know, so
Yeah.
like I don't know. At one point, we started writing more. I got more into guitars. I was like, "Fuck man, I'm gonna keep starting bands." And you know, I love this shit. You know, I regret not doing it, playing guitar like that sooner. I wish I did it like 10 years ago. But in a way, I guess I did. But you know, it was more bass focused, which is I love bass so much. I love playing bass, and
Now you still play bass in Grounds of Execution, right?
I
Or no?
uh I play guitar in that right now.
Oh, you play. Oh, you play guitar. Okay. What am I thinking that you're playing bass in right
I
now?
play bass in a band called Absent Mind.
Absent mind. Okay. Shit. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, I gotta appreciate the effect of having, you know, so many things, and having, you know, having the work just keep on going, especially with yourself working full time too, and keeping that balance, dude. It's insane.
yeah. I feel blessed. I don't know how it's working out at this point. How things haven't overlapped in a terrible manner,
Yeah,
but
right. Now, I mean, as far as with MH, you're kind of mentioning that, and like one thing when I was talking with Beaver and we were kind of going back and forth was the feeling behind that too. Like there's so many times, where I'm like, yo, like the time signatures of things uh, aren't aren't anything traditional or aren't something that's just
Yeah.
like because some people say like MH is like beat down or it's heavier hard just whatever the thing is, but it has that like from a drummer standpoint like the time signatures. And are there different things that that pop out to you as far as things that Beaver had brought to the table where you're like, yo, I never thought
Oh yeah.
this would go with it, but anything in
Every
particular that comes
time.
to mind?
Oh, every time. I mean, I'll bring a riff to him and I'll have to adjust the riff to what he's playing because he'll end up playing some psychotic, crazy shit, and then I'll be like, all right, it's great. I love he's so damn talented, and then it pushes us to push the envelope more and become better guitarists. So I think every song, he's very talented, and
Mhm.
he's the probably the sole reason why I listen to Meshuggah. I probably would not
Oh yeah, I
before
remember
that.
you
I don't
mentioned
know.
that.
I love Meshuggah. It's definitely because of it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, as far as that track, and like the opportunity to be able to work with you guys, and once again, super gracious. You had included the track "Bond" from MHKS. What can you tell us? As far as maybe like vocally, lyrically, maybe even the writing process to that track. What comes to mind as far as that song?
Yeah. I mean, that song was a. I had a few set of riffs. I brought it to the practice spot, and then everyone kind of brought in their own flavor to it, which was awesome. Um, and writing it, it's dedicated to our fallen brother Daniel Bond, and
Mm.
yeah, he was such a pioneer to our music scene and all the bands he did. So many like Body Bag, IED, Streets of Rage, No Zodiac. The list goes on. Inferno. The list goes very far. Um,
Damn.
so yeah, I mean, he's a huge inspiration to us and the way he did stuff. So the way things go on here now is definitely a result of what he did. So that song's definitely a way to uh, commemorate him, which
Sick.
is great.
That's so awesome. And the one thing I mean I do appreciate about like Midwest, and it's not to say I guess Midwest is all I know, so I can't say this taken away from other communities, but Chicago, Detroit, some of these bigger spots, or even like right now in like Wisconsin, Minnesota, like the community and the scene is so tight, and there's different times where you have kind of silliness and whatever, but having that and having, especially like the Chicago area and some of the bands that are coming out and have been coming out, I mean, The Killer to this day, still remains one of those bands where it's like, how do you
The
not know
goats.
them? How do you not love them?
Yeah, that's the best
and,
band
and
from
I mean, you
Chicago
guys
ever.
having them featured on your track too, which was like absolutely wild. I mean, was that something just from being, like doggies over time and, just kind of shouting out and be like, hey, if you don't mind, how did that come about collaborating?
Yeah, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, Jane and Luke are good friends and dear friends and great people. So it was kind of just happened,
Yeah.
and
Sick.
they both have great vocals and vocal style. So
Okay.
it's great to
Okay.
have them on there.
Totally agree. I mean, with now MHK, that was like the as far as sector and hold my own. I know hold my own's a lot newer, but was MH Chaos really the first band that you kind of took to like going on the road and really traveling with as far as like recently within the last years or so?
I would say so. I with Bitter Thought, we do a band Bitter Thoughts. We did a couple
Hmm.
West Coast uh runs tours with our friend Silverhammer from Indiana, great band.
Yeah. Okay.
If you haven't heard them, they're great. Uh, and then I will fill in for some bands here and there to just go out. I've done nothing too crazy,
Mm.
but I got to experience it a little. So
Sure.
MH was
Now,
definitely the first band that I think people cared to hey, come to the state or whatever.
yeah.
So really grateful for that.
Damn. So, I mean, now do you kind of credit it too, as far as like, as you mentioned, like filling in, like how do you get to all of a sudden, you're in like one band or maybe have two, and then there's like six different projects that you're doing shit with? I mean, is that just from kind of word of mouth and like somebody being like, "Yo, you're sick, like let's do this," or I mean, are there
Um,
things popping up that you're like, I can't do that actually?
um, I think yeah, like the my want to do stuff like many bands came from like I'll fill in and um I I think being in the bands that I am now for like Sector and MH are definitely like all of them are from like friends and stuff, like we're all friends, and that's the reason why I do any band. I think
Mm,
Hold My Own was like one of the bands that was like I met Greg. I I first talked to him in my life. What was the idea to start a band? So
mm,
I would consider us really good friends now. But when the band came about, it literally came from like, yo, you want to do a band together? I was like, yeah, of course. Like that sounds great. And so we were both on the From Within Records One Scene Unity comp. Our band MH and his band and Youth Claps, and so that happened from that. So I get into in a way for sure, like that ethic, I guess. Um, but yeah, I think I like playing in multiple bands because I don't know, like it's a learning experience. It's fun,
yeah, totally.
but it comes with its obvious, you know, downsides in a way. Not saying it's a downside, but it's like I had a conversation with someone who was very kind to give advice recently that like, hey, sometimes doing a band and giving your all into one of them is a great move, and I totally agree with that in a way, and in some ways, I think different things work in different times, so there's different reasons to do different bands and just occupy your time to just do shit. That's essentially what it is. So I
Totally.
don't know. Yeah,
And I can see both sides of it. I mean, as far as like you have different things, where let's say, for instance, like something like Metallica, for instance, where like for all the years, you're like, yo, these guys have never really done anything other than Metallica, and you can kind of think of, as far as like all those years of like, playing shows and writing and different things, like it's probably fresh. I mean, not that you're ever sick of anybody, but yo, like I can come here and I can kind of maybe come with like a little bit of this flavor here, as opposed to if I had something, or I might have
sure,
something. So I can see both sides of it, and I can understand, as far as whoever was saying that yeah, having that is is one route, but it's also sick to be able to have that opportunity and that personal choice to be like, I think I'm gonna step aside here and maybe do a little something here and maybe record something, and you have that opportunity too. I think to be able to see other people's takes on things and their their ear, as far as different drummers that don't like click tracks, or different
yeah,
bassists that have every other different. So I mean, it's all, I think, like you mentioned, an experience and learning from one another, and yourself from a lot of others.
totally, yeah, I agree. I have a lot of respect for the artists, any artist in any field that really tries to hone their craft in one avenue, and
Mhm.
anyone who chooses to do the and put their eggs in different baskets, that's awesome too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I mean, as far as sector, so like the couple of tracks here, the one, I mean, obviously, this side of the dirt that I got to graciously include on,
Thank
on
you,
this comp here,
appreciate
but
that,
then
man.
also Boiling Red. So we have the initial single of those two tracks that comes out pummeling. Uh, Truly, I mean, I could not tell you how many times I've fucking listened to those two songs on repeat. The
That's
new
it.
record comes out. The new record comes out, and you guys have a re-record. How did that come about as far as to redo those, and then not only re-record them, but they're restructured?
For sure. When we first did the two songs, at that point, we already had the idea that we were writing a record, and these two songs were going to be on it. Um,
Oh, okay.
that that was kind of the plan at the time of year prior to recording the record. So the idea of switching it up, kind of always wanted to do that. I mean, and we didn't know what we were going to do up until probably when we were recording it. I love how it turned out. I love both versions.
Dude.
Thank you for jamming it. But I do like
A
how
lot.
thank you, man. I do like how they sound now, and we did get to play the new version of those two songs a couple months back, which is really fun. So excited
Yeah.
to play those versions again and play the new songs. So
Now, I mean,
it'll be
what's going into as far as you guys having like even like the video shoots, but then you also have something for Hold My Own popping up, and it's like, how does that go as far as scheduling for like where I'm going to be at what time for filming wise? It's one thing to be able to record and possibly be able to be in at the spot in different times. But filming and all having to be somewhere, is that more of a struggle, as opposed to getting
uh
together for shows or anything like that?
we kind of just did that video in a few hours, one day in between
It's
us.
sick.
Thank you, man. So it was somewhat easy to find a day.
Okay.
So I mean, we're not going crazy traveling, so we can, sector is we have a few shows lined up. We're gonna be doing some more shows and doing what we can. Um, yeah, I just got married, and John just had a new baby. Um, has two beautiful kids, so we do what we can, and I guess that I don't know. That's just a way to do more. If there's a day to that's one band isn't doing something, do it for the other band, and
Okay.
I feel like everyone in our bands are like that. So Beaver is in many bands, as you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
He's very dedicated to his craft of music. So I think it's just it's great to have that avenue and options because sometimes you know I know a lot of people that we looked up to doing this and growing up were similar and did many amazing bands at once or within a short amount of time. So and many people in the hardcore scene now do it.
Hmm.
Will from Detroit,
Yeah.
Michigan, Grand Rapids. He does every amazing band in hardcore. So I think it's amazing and it's cool to see hardcore thriving and being at like a very amazing spot. It's very cool to see from young to old. There's many bands doing their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so even reversing a little bit, your first time experiencing live music, where did that come into play? And was it a smaller local show? Was it something that was a bigger, tour package? How did that come to you as far as seeing live music?
Uh, I think it was either a couch tour or a local show at Doug's Rock House in Aurora, Illinois. A bunch of local
Okay.
bands played. Um, it was either one of those. I think it was the couch tour.
Okay. Okay. I mean, what I've heard that term in different ways. What does that mean? It's like a sit
Oh,
down.
couch tour?
Yeah.
It was this Zoomies couch tour. It was like this. It's like a skate event that happened at malls across the U.S. and they had skate teams do a demo. They would set up a whole skate park in the mall parking lot, pro skateboarders would come, they would do their thing, and then you would get to meet them. And
Oh
then a band
shit, this
would
is not
play.
at all what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Damn.
a
Oh,
band would
okay.
play. So I saw Mike V and the Rats. Um,
Oh shit, really?
yeah, yeah, she was
Oh
sick.
dang, that's awesome. That's awesome. That video of him slapping that cat in the head with the skateboard all those years ago was forever. I can never forget that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. There's surprisingly been different friends that I've had over the years that are like into skating, and I bring that up, and they're like, I don't know what that is. Oh, dude, you have to see this guy whomping on six people at once
That's
and then slapping someone with
wild.
a skateboard.
That shit is crazy.
That is so rad. I mean, so like as far as you being into skating, like have there been pushes for any of the bands or anything as far as like doing like a full on skate tour? Like, has that ever been something where you're like, yo, we have to just hit skate parks, like city to city, hit a couple of weekends?
I guess not, cause like I don't really skateboard too much now, so I
That'd
don't have
be
that on.
sick.
It's a good idea, but um, I I feel like one time before MH was playing the Rumble, I was at some bands like skate thing. Some bands were playing, and I fucked my shit up, and I was like, God damn, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to play. And so I was like, damn,
Oh man.
I was fine, but like
Oh,
ever since then, I was like, shit, I don't
was it
know.
like one of your arms or your wrist or something?
Yeah, it was my wrist, so I was like, damn,
Oh,
I had
oh.
to be a pussy now. Still skate, but respect to the people who do skate and play in bands. That's what's up.
Damn. Oh man, I appreciate that. I mean, and in the opportunity of having I guess to say even different opportunities. Uh, Mentioning Hold My Own and that coming up, and honestly, this being a band that like recently within the last few months kind of really got onto my radar and started picking up on it with this newest record, and then going backtracking a little bit. What was I mean, what were like the initial components of this, that ended up making like the foundation to this band's sound?
Uh, I think it was just with the idea. The music started with Serge and I. I had some ideas, rough ideas, and
Mm-hmm.
Serge kind of just laid down drums and kind of we did whatever. It was during the pandemic, so we kind of bored. And at that time, I mean, there was no serious, real thought to do a band that was gonna do anything. Like
Yeah,
it was, I'm almost a joke. So we just do it and kind of laugh about it and go on with our day. And
yeah.
then, as time went on, just kind of built on it and wrote riffs and sent it to Greg and uh, you know. Uh, the rest would kind of get written and be put together. I mean, the idea of it all just came from loosely just wanting to do fast, harder, fast and hard New York type hard, fat, shit we like for fun. That was pretty
Okay.
much the goal. So,
Okay.
we're grateful to be able to play whatever we have so far, and it's been a cool experience for sure.
And now, like, what with the outro, you have the you have the candy stand, and then you have. I mean, it seems like it's like a Mickey Mouse bit or
Oh
something.
yeah,
What
yep.
what what's behind those?
Those are all Greg. He's a
Okay.
weirdo fuck. um, no, he has great ideas. So
It's a
this is
funny
what
juxtaposition, to
it.
hear
Yeah,
the rest of the thing and then that come in. It's like, all right, this is a odd send off, but I dig it all at the same time.
absolutely. Yeah, it definitely brings some flavor to it. Um, I think like at the end of the newer record, it's like it's saying let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves some treats. It's kind of a way to be like, hey, let me find my next selection of music. I'll move on to my
Oh yeah, okay.
to my next album to listen to.
dude. I mean, and let me say too, like another Chicago band that's doing it. Bovice just put
Oh,
out
great.
their
Oh, amazing
holy
record.
moly.
Monster of a
Like,
record.
yeah, you ain't lying. You know, it was funny because I've kind of tried just as far as for more or less like people who are into film that follow the page and everything. I like to kind of put out different things as far as music or tops of like records, and it's been tough, man, because like Chicago in general I feel like is really like taking over everything that I'm trying to put together here. But the Sector record and then the Bovice record, there's been a Hold My Own. There's a lot of awesome stuff that's coming out. What do you have? What do you have lined up? I mean, as far as after these releases and things, do you have the shows? Or I know you just got married. I saw a couple of things on here. Congratulations to that. What a
Thank you so
beautiful
much.
ceremony,
Oh,
man.
thank you.
Absolutely looked beautiful. It was awesome.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it feels great. It's a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Show wise, Home My Own is playing some shows with Off the Tracks and Shattered Realm in a few weeks. In Florida, that'll be great. Um, Going to Tulsa for Act Like You Know Fest in November with some Texas show. And yeah, just some stuff in December, you know, some things for next year. Nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so gonna try to balance it out. Gonna try to balance out life and do as much as you know as feasibly possible, and being you know a married man, which is
Yeah.
great. It's yeah,
I noticed in the latest Hold My Own video that you had the ring on, that time. Is there any different clanks or anything now that you're playing with that bad boy? You're like, shit, I gotta
it's
tone
fun. That's
down
a good
here or
question.
there.
I uh, I don't know. I kind of like it. I feel like
Okay.
some
Little
power.
weight to have it down.
Yeah, yeah. Feels
Okay.
feels right.
I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I wanted to mention something too, as far as not to go like too deep or too heavy or anything, but I'm meeting you. We were at Sweatfest, and my band had played. Your guys' was a little bit later in the evening or whatever,
Yeah.
and you and Beaver and just all the boys, Dave, everybody, and kind of like kicking it, saying what's up to everybody. It was rad, and it was so cool because like you of all people, it was funny because like it was even cats that like I hadn't even seen in a while. I'm like, man, have you talked to MH and have you talked to Anchit? Like that guy's just like the nicest dude in the world. Tell us a
Thanks,
little bit
man.
of like some of your upbringing. Like, was it your parents being very, very, like strict on just being cordial and kind? Was it school? Like how do you credit, yourself for being, just a stand-up cat?
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Um, Definitely my parents,
Yeah.
grandparents. You know, seeing what they do, got friends and stuff.
Hmm.
You know,
I appreciate it, and I think more or less I kind of bring it up just because oftentimes you look at heavy music and you look at the kind of brutal exterior that surrounds around it, and that's not always it's more than not
right?
always the
Totally,
case. It's there's absolutely like beautiful people that are doing great stuff
absolutely.
in the community, and I want to emphasize on it just because when people kind of look or they listen, they're like, oh my god, like these guys are really mean or they're really like you gotta just stop and check out a doggy and say what's up, what I'm saying, just
Exactly. I
kick it for
mean,
a minute.
no need to judge people by the way they look or what kind of music they're into or what they're doing. You know,
Yep. Yep.
people are gonna do what they do, but everybody in this community in hardcore, they're it's a special place. So
It's a solid spot. I agree. I know, and honestly, I kind of wondered about Dave because he had one of those voices, where like that guy, he sounds like he's really up to no good.
yeah, no, one of my
You
favorite
listen to him on
voices for
record, and
sure.
he's like quiet, chill dude. I'm like, boy, on record, man, you're really selling a point here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great. I mean, so many different personalities out there, and
Yeah.
having the opportunity to express yourself through music is great. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
I'm able to do that, so I'm very grateful for it. We are, as you know, all of us are.
Now, yourself doing backing vocals and kind of having that opportunity within different bands. Have you thought at all as far as taking on vocals like as a lead in a band, or are you more like I just want to do guitar?
I totally have. It's something I think about quite often. Um, I used to sing in a band a long time ago. It was a joke.
Mm,
It was like a power violence band, kind of a joke, but I had a
mm,
great time doing it, and I'm hoping, I want to do it,
that'd be sick.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I
Lots,
think,
lots, lots to say, I'm sure.
yeah, I would, it would just be fun. It would be a cool experience. So I think maybe
Yeah.
one day for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, out of like being, like myself playing drums and kind of having like the musical aspect. There's a lot of times where listening to a band or being introduced, it's either drums or vocals, and sometimes those things have such a a direct connection, to each other. But then there's a lot of times too where it's like even like a guitar tone could be something. I'm like, yo, okay, something's kind of driving me crazy on one of the other ends, but the guitar is really pulling me in. So you've got something special, dude. Like everything that
Thank you.
you have been a part of. Beaver's another cat too. I see this rascal in the chat here too. He's another one, where like I pull up his stuff and I'm like, God, this
Insane.
you guys have what it is that you're doing for sure down.
No, totally grateful to make
so uh,
music with the group that we got.
so you got Hold My Own. Do you have? I mean, are there any other things that you're kind of working on finaling up here? Or I mean, you've had a big year with a couple of releases. Is there anything else that's supposed to be shitting out before 2022 takes a dump? Or what's you're a busy
Uh,
dude, man.
Probably, just finishing recording a few things. Um,
Damn.
just
God.
yeah, like Hold My Own's gonna release a few things and working on writing with some other guys. So we're doing our thing, and
Shit.
just our
That's
group
awesome.
is always kind of meeting together and doing our thing. So, and I don't think anything's gonna come out this year, but
Okay.
it's getting, you know, it'll be written and recorded. Good amount of stuff. Another, hold my a few splits for Hold My Own. We're doing a split with Carried by Six. Just finished recording for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it'll be on Never Will
Damn.
Never Will Records, Richie Crutch's label. Shout out to him. So shout out Carried by Six, great band.
Oh
Like
man.
very stoked to do a split with a band as amazing, like hard as them.
So
They're one of my
sick.
favorites. And then yeah, Hold My Own is doing something. So a few other things, and then a few other bands. Do what we
That's
can.
awesome. Yeah. Remaining busy. I mean, it's funny when there's certain musicians where it's like, man, I've been just so busy and I've had da 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 da, and there are definitely people that can say that and probably have just a shit ton of stuff going on. But there are other people like yourself or Beaver or a couple other, to mention locally. I mean, you mentioned Will, where it's like you're not fooling everybody by saying that you're busy. We see that.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
that's
shit,
sick.
man. Hardcore is a beautiful, cool place, man. It's just people can do some shit, and
Good shit, man.
you
I
know,
agree. Well,
people are into it.
this this has honestly been awesome, dude. I look forward to this stuff. I'm a growing fan all the time. Sector, Hold My Own, obviously MH. I don't know if MH
Thank you.
has anything new coming out or stirring. I don't want to like do too much digging, but I hope because they were you guys being live on record. You're doing some absolutely awesome shit, and I'm
Thank you.
a huge fan of it, man. So hopefully we see some new stuff come out from that. But for anybody watching, Sector and Hold My Own's doing plenty, and Sector just released like top contender. Absolutely fucking awesome record, man. So
Thank you so
one
much.
thing before I let you go, I do want to touch the cover art of Sector's new album.
Yeah,
what came into this? Like absolutely ripping, just awesome detail.
totally. Yeah. And Flyer from Japan did the artwork. He did it for the promo. Um, it kind of just represents uh Chicago, and uh essentially there's like the character is like a deity being, like some sort of a god, and it's just just pretty much it's a cold day in Chicago, and there's this fucking deity, whoever the fuck it is to you. That's it. That's how I interpret it.
I love that. So that's, I mean, we'll leave that there. There doesn't have to be anything too literal on like a meaning or anything like. I dig the shit out of that, and I hope that's what anybody takes out of it. Is that's absolutely sick. So, dude, this has been so awesome, man. I greatly appreciate it, and I'm sure at some point or another we're probably going to be crossing paths again
Absolutely.
and doing something. You're constantly doing amazing stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you very
No,
much for the help on the comp and for all that you're doing for the scene, man. I really appreciate it.
no. Thank you for all you do for the scene, and thank you for having us on the comp. Really appreciate that, man. And thank you
Oh,
for just having me on this on your show and this podcast. It's a really cool way to. I love it. So just thank you, man. Appreciate it.
awesome, awesome. Thanks so much, man. I'll have this up here edited within like the next month or so. I have it up on YouTube so people can check it out, see what's new, man.
Appreciate it, man. Much love to
All
you.
right, all right. Take care, man.
All right.
See ya.
Thank you too. Take care.
He's a lo-fi horror guy. Yeah, he's kind of a guy, but he is so lo-fi, lo-fi, a horror guy. Yeah. Lo-fi horror guy has been recorded in front of